We are back in the war room, my beautiful people. I am your fight goddess, Chris Baldwin, and I'm here with Melissa Smith. She is a women's boxing historian, and my boy, Mr. Eddie Goldman. We call him the conscious of combat sports. And, we are just going to start right off today in today's top boxing news with Mr. Ryan Garcia testing positive for the performance enhancement drug Ostarine, according to the International Doping Organization, WADA, which is the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. Now, both fighters, Haney and Garcia, tested before and after their fight at the Barclays Center in New York City on April 20th. And Devin Haney was knocked down 3 times. I thought it was 4 times. He was knocked down by Garcia, who was the bigger and much stronger fighter that night. He looked huge to me. He really did. And post-fight, I saw a tweet by Ryan Garcia saying that Mayweather told him to come in 3 pounds heavier. Then a few days later, the internet told me, Eddie, because these were unverified sources, that Ryan Garcia had bet $2 million on himself because he was an underdog. So I don't know if that was true, but it makes sense if Mayweather told him to do that. That means Mayweather also bet on Garcia to win. He was an underdog. And so I could only imagine. But I just wanted to know, is that even legal? Like, are fighters allowed to bet on themselves? I didn't think you were allowed to do that.
No, in boxing, and just about anything's legal. In other sports, it's illegal, but in boxing, it's done openly all the time.
Oh
I
my,
don't necessarily believe anything Ryan Garcia says.
right.
So I'm highly skeptical of him saying that, particularly after the fact, after he was awarded the victory.
Right.
And we'll get into that. That victory is not going to stand very long. But
Right.
even so, the results of the bets don't change, which
Okay,
again
wait.
shows anybody that bets on boxing is out of their mind.
Okay, so wait a minute. So if it turns out that he did bet on himself, does his record now, so does Haney go back to
Well,
like the day?
let's start at the big, possibly. Let's sort of
Okay.
start at the beginning with this to explain the process, because this is the boxing doping scandal of the week. This is basically
Same.
nothing new.
Right.
There was a letter dated May 1st sent by VADA, as you said, Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, which, by the way, half of the boxing media can't even get the name right with it. They call it an agency. It's not an agency. You got the name right on the top, all over the place on their website. And the letter was signed by Dr. Margaret Goodman, who, if people know, is one of the few great people in boxing. She's fought for the health and safety of the fighters for decades when she was with the Nevada State Athletic Commission and, in recent years, president of VADA. And this letter was addressed to, it was leaked online. It was addressed to Kim Sumbler, the head of the New York State Athletic Commission, Eric Gomez, the president of Golden Boy, which promotes Garcia, Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC, and also Alberto Leon of the WBC, which has the clean boxing program, and Mike Mazzulli of the Association of Boxing Commissions. Just excuse me for a second. My throat's a little dry.
Uh-oh. Grab some water, Eddie. Grab some water.
Yeah, I got to get the water. All right, just water, by the way. Nothing.
No martini tonight.
No, I'm not a martini guy. I haven't drank in a long time. Anyway, what the letter basically said, what VADA does is it tests it does the samples. It takes the specimens, sends them to one of the top labs, gets them back, which are numbered, so the lab doesn't know who it is. They get it back, and they analyze and they test it for certain performance enhancing drugs and presumably all sorts of other stuff. So they did, these were two tests, one the night before the fight on April 19th and the other on April 20th. I don't know whether it was actually right before or right after the fight, but it was April 20th, the day of the fight. And both of them found ostarine in it, which is banned in any amount at all times by the World Anti-Doping Code. And the first one found a nandrolone type substance, noradrenasterone, which I'm mispronouncing, and they have to do some of their further analysis as of this letter, which is only yesterday, the day before we're recording this. So it may take a little more time to get it. And so this is what they do. They do not deal with suspensions or finding out how or when he took the substance. So somebody then, and of course, somebody then leaked this letter to people in the media, Dan Raphael, because that's how I'm looking at it right now.
Right.
I saw it on his Twitter. And not supposed to do that, but it does go on. That kind of thing goes on all the time. And so now the question is, all right, there's still a B sample that has to be tested, but it's almost always the B sample shows what's in the A sample. So Garcia legitimately has a right to a hearing and a right to appeal this, as does everybody. But he's been found to have this stuff on the day of the fight and right before in his system illegally. So really now you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, he's been proven to have this stuff in his system. He has to show that something is either wrong with the test, there was some mistake made, or that he's not at fault because it was contamination, say of a supplement or something else. The problem with the contamination argument is if it's in your system, according to all anti-doping regulations, there's strict liability, whether you intended or did not intend to have this stuff in it, because it's in your system. You're getting the benefits of it. And of course, most of these athletes say, I don't know anything about it. I never heard of this stuff. I don't take anything, blah, blah, blah. You know, we hear this, we've heard this stuff for years from Marion Jones and on and on and on. So he does have the right to have this investigated. Now, there's going to have to be a hearing with the New York State Athletic Commission, since this fight was in Brooklyn, and they were the commission with the jurisdiction regulating this fight. So they're going to have this hearing, and both sides are going to be able to present their cases on it. If it's proven as expected that he did in fact have this stuff and possibly the second substance in his body, that what they're going to do is decide a penalty and suspension. Now, in terms of a penalty, the first thing they're going to do is look at the fight, which Garcia won by decision, and they're going to say this becomes a no contest, which will mean that Haney's record returns to undefeated, and the victory is taken away from Garcia's record, goes on both of their records as a no contest. In terms of a suspension, there's a certain amount of leeway in that. They could throw the book at him and he could be suspended for several years. Or if he could prove, which is time consuming and expensive and very difficult to do, if he could prove that it was just through some contaminated supplement that had this stuff in it, and he looked at the ingredients, and all the ingredients on the bottle or the package were okay, but this stuff was not listed in the ingredients, he could get a shorter suspension. That because that's the issue of intent. So this is what they're facing now, and it's very, very difficult to do this if the commission is basically serious in any way. However, Garcia, as soon as this became public, immediately took to social media and basically charged that he's never taken steroids, which is, a euphemism for PED. He doesn't even know where to get them, and everyone's against him, and he's implying there's this huge conspiracy against him. And he even posted some of the stuff on Twitter where he wrote, I'm seen with Trump, and now I'm positive for steroids. This is a straight attack. Crazy. So this is the same kind of thing Trump is saying in all of his trials. It's a witch hunt. Everybody's against me. This is unfair, all this kind of crap. And it gets even worse because his next tweet he wrote, and as we record this shit is still up on his verified, to what degree anything is verified on Twitter today, is his account. If I took the steroids, then I'm for sure gay, in capital letters, gay. This is what he wrote on May 1st. So he's turning this into like an extreme MAGA issue. And it's just disgusting. The whole thing is disgusting. The guy came in over 3 pounds overweight intentionally. I don't think it was because anything Mayweather told him. I just think he decided he wasn't going to make the weight. He wasn't going to bust his ass to make the weight. His previous fight, he fought at 143 where he didn't have to make 140, and he may have difficulty now making 140, which is fine. So you move up to the next weight class. This happens every day in boxing, but instead he makes Haney, who also apparently had some difficulty making 140, but he did it. He makes Haney drain himself. Then he comes in where he doesn't have to drain himself right before the fight. And then he has this PED in his system. And what happens in the first round? He throws a left hook, which he's known for. That's one of his best punches. And he badly wobbles Haney in the first round. He didn't knock him down, and Garcia didn't follow it up. But still, Haney didn't seem ever really to recover. And while it looked like Haney won a lot of the next couple of rounds, he was just jabbing and boxing and, winning that way. And then there were the 3 knockdowns, and it could have been 4. The referee did a really, in my opinion, bad job of officiating that fight. And he just knocks the hell out of Haney. And Haney was very distraught. And now, a couple of weeks after the fight, this information comes out. Could you imagine if you're Devin Haney now? You lost your first fight to a guy who was a big underdog, and all this crap happens? This is absolutely disgusting. This guy, Ryan Garcia, is a piece of shit in many, many different ways. And whether or not this was intentional or not, he still was a piece of shit even before this news came out. And so he's a double piece of shit if it turns out that it's true and that he intentionally took it.
Right.
So I'd like to add into that though for a minute, just to talk a little bit about process. The next thing that has to happen is that there are 2 samples that are taken at the same time, the A sample and the B sample. The A sample is the one that's tested. If there's a positive finding, then the athlete goes to have the B sample tested. Now, whether he's going to do that and how he's going to go about that is another circus to come. And then because this was part of the clean boxing program with WBC, they get their hands in and do the investigation. They've done this for other fighters. So there's all of that level to come. And as Eddie said, it's through the New York State, boxing commission. And and they are at least fairly together in what they do. They'll certainly have more governance than the one in Michigan when Baumgardner was found to have a positive A sample for PEDs. But how long this is going to take and how much of a circus is going to be around this with the view of killing it is who knows.
Yeah, let me ask you. So are you saying the B sample is independently tested by
Yes.
who?
They're both sent and it's held separately.
Okay.
So when they first do the test, they test the A sample. Then the fighter requests the B sample to be tested and they test that. They are taken at the same time, independently of each other.
Right.
And the idea there is to say, okay, the A is done, and if maybe it's tainted, maybe it's something in the lab that happened. Things can happen.
Right.
So you test a separate test, the B sample, that is tested. If it's the same, then you got to deal with that. Now, we went through how many months waiting for Baumgardner's test results? 7 months? Who knows how long this is going to be? And this is with VADA. Baumgardner's test was not VADA. This is VADA, which means there's also this WBC layer that'll be in there. So it's a mess.
It is a mess. Another
and
stain.
You got, you've got his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya. Oh, well, we just don't know how that could happen. I mean, he didn't take anything. So, we're in denial city here.
Yeah, I'm sure to come up with tainted meat or tainted supplements or
it's
some
like
excuse.
Tainted. Oh, he ate a steak.
Yeah.
Right.
That was Canelo's excuse.
So where are we with boxing though? It just shits on it.
Yeah.
Another case.
Yeah.
We're like on the rope, I mean, literally on the ropes in terms of this sport in this country right now. And then you have this crap.
Yeah. Well, they just pivot to the next
drama.
They just pivot to the next fight because that's what promoters do. They were like, oh,
yeah, right. So we have the Canelo fight this weekend. And
exactly.
And the fans say, I'm going to pay money to watch a fight, either in the arena or on pay-per-view. And
But
2 weeks later, it's all going to be changed because one of them was taking a PED. So what I'm watching now really isn't real.
Right.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And I got to tell you that if you're looking on some of the comments on Twitter, it's disgusting. I mean, I'm just in Block City. I mean, I can't even read it. It's so gross.
Yeah, I believe it. No, I can't.
It's a sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolute sewer.
But look, let's move on to women's boxing. Something that it is not getting a lot of coverage because that's how they do us. Women's boxing. Melissa, tell us what's going on, please.
Well, first of all, we have this huge fight coming up next weekend, May 11th, between Jessica McCaskill, the former undisputed welterweight champion who defeated Cecilia Brækhus twice. Ooh. She will be fighting the British gold medal Olympian Lauren Price, who is at 6-0 as a professional, but has really been an extraordinary fighter in the ring. And they're going to be fighting in her backyard in Cardiff, Wales. She is just the pride of Wales. And it is a main event fight, which is fantastic to have a main event with women. And there will be it will be a really sensational battle, one which, a lot of people feel that Lauren Price can win, which would really be sort of the final sort of show that Jessica McCaskill's on the back end of her career. Certainly, she's had some losses recently that would show that she's had some challenges. She had their fight, the last fight she had was with Sandy Ryan, the British fighter. That fight was held in Orlando. It went to a draw, although a lot of people were like totally stunned with the results, claiming robbery. I certainly was of the camp that felt that Sandy Ryan had done enough to cleanly win that fight. And before that, McCaskill lost against Chantel Cameron. She had come down to super light to try to grab the super light undisputed. She lost that fight and then lost her own undisputed welterweight as a result of that So we'll see what happens, but it is a very exciting opportunity, certainly for Lauren Price. And in terms of women's boxing in the UK, Lauren Price is thought of as a real shining star and sort of the next generation to follow, Katie Taylor and so on, that caliber of fighter in Europe. So, and she is also with Matchroom. So we'll see what happens there. The other fight that happened, which was, I should add, there will be other women's fights on this card, which is really exciting. So there's some real opportunity for women to shine on the card. So I really hope that folks will tune into DAZN to watch it next Saturday. It'll be if you're on the East Coast, it'll be in the start in the afternoon. Probably the walk will be around 5 or so
It's
p.m.
not on
Eastern
the
time.
zone.
It's not on DAZN?
No, in the
US,
no,
it's on
no.
DAZN, right?
No,
It's
it's
not?
better. It's better. It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Yeah, you got.
Thank you for that.
Oh, I
I
have
did not
Peacock.
realize that.
Lauren is not with
With
DAZN?
with
with
Matchroom.
Matchroom. She's with Boxer and Ben Shalom, who's
Oh,
promoting
I
this card. And the
didn't-
card in the
interesting.
UK,
I didn't
it's
realize that.
interesting.
Thank
It's
you.
going to have wide coverage all over the UK. In the UK and Ireland, it's going to be on Sky.
Oh, so that'll be
But
huge.
in Wales, it's going to be on BBC Wales also.
Wow.
So it's going to
Yeah,
get
'cause-
real wide coverage. And because of Boxer's deal and Sky's deal to show it in the US, it's on Peacock, not on pay-per-view, which is the Comcast
Right.
NBC streaming service, which a lot of people are signing up for, because beside the fact in July they're going to have a price increase, as always, but that's the
the
streaming service
Olympics.
that will have, right, the Olympics will have everything from the Olympics, which will allow you to watch stuff on demand too, because the time differences and you can't watch everything. So if there's a sport or sports or events that you want to particularly watch, that'll give you a chance to do it on your own schedule.
Well, here's the thing. It's an all-female card. And it's getting
Yeah.
no play here.
Which card?
The
No.
card that, yes, it is. If you look on BoxRec, it's
No. I don't know.
I'm looking at the card. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what, guys? My
That's all right.
apologies.
That's all right, baby.
I am.
It's the only women's fight schedule.
It's the only women's fight, and it's
Fight
the main event.
schedule,
My
right.
my apologies, guys. I'm
That's all right.
completely on the wrong
We'll
page
rewind
here.
that.
I'm mental. Too much writing.
Hey, at least
Yeah,
you caught
Huey
yourself.
Fury's. Sorry,
Right,
only
Huey
female
Fury's
card.
returning after
Right.
injuries to fight on this
Yeah.
this
his
card
family.
against a guy that'll probably easily beat.
Yeah, well, he's on against a 300 fighter.
So, hey,
veteran court.
so you think McCaskill?
Sorry, guys.
You think McCaskill retires if she loses the price?
No, I don't think she's going to
No?
retire. I don't see that. She'll probably still try to get some paydays.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's compelling. It's certainly compelling for Price. She's a really strong fighter. She's got remarkable skills. Very balanced in the ring. Very strong. McCaskill's tricky though, and if she's in shape, and if she's been training,
And healthy. Yeah.
she can come at you with some very unorthodox fighting style. So
Yeah, the age is important because McCaskill's 39. The question with Lauren Price, although she's only 29, she's only had 6 pro fights since winning the Olympics. And if you look at her record, she's fought some decent fighters, but no real world-class fighters, and not for any world title at this point. So the question becomes experience. And again, she's rising and McCaskill is sinking. She hasn't won a fight in 2 years, although she won the one with Ryan, but most people, technically,
it was a draw. Yeah.
Shouldn't have got the win, and she lost to Chantel Cameron. So she hasn't looked good in that good against top level fighters. Talking about Sandy Ryan and Chantel Cameron, but she's fought top people like that in the past. I think she fought Katie Taylor. She's been fighting top level fighters for
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah, Erica
Lauren
Farias.
Price is
Yeah.
new to this level. And
Yep.
so there's a certain amount that we really don't know if she can keep up with McCaskill in terms of ring IQ and all
Yep.
of that. And if she does, it'll be quite an accomplishment. I got to think that they felt that given McCaskill's age and recent record, that she's really vulnerable. And that's why they chose her. But that's what we're going to see on May 11th. And that's a fight that I'm looking forward to because you don't have to deal with all the craziness, the pay-per-view, all this expensive stuff. And if you subscribe to Peacock, they have these fights roughly once a month, more or less. But they have all the entertainment stuff too.
Oh yeah, they have
I'm
all the
loving Peacock.
Paramount.
Yeah.
They have Paramount. They have a bunch of stuff and a lot of sports. I don't know if you like golf. They have golf. They
A
have
lot of
best.
Law and Order. That's what I've been.
A lot of Law and Order. And it goes all the way back.
Oh,
They have
no.
but depending on they have different things. People have different tastes. There's a lot of
Yeah.
material on there, which makes it a lot easier to use than than DAZN, which is constantly raising its price
Yeah.
and making the best fights all pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
Canelo. Gonna pay.
And then
I mean,
why?
that's not on
and,
DAZN. Sorry.
and I don't even bother to pay for any more pay-per-views because I can always watch it
Oh,
for
I don't pay for
afterwards.
pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah. It's like why
I
pay
don't.
for
It's like
Mike, and I'm gonna watch it for free in another few hours. So I'm good.
most.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably pay for Tyson Fury. I will.
Oh my
Furious.
God, no. I'll pay for a women's card, but I'm not gonna pay for the guys. Sorry.
I may. I got
Well,
to-
just remember when the Joshua fight on Knockout Chaos was on pay-per-view. A couple of days later, Turkey El Sheikh posted the entire card for free on his YouTube.
Oh.
Plus,
okay.
there'll be stuff
Right.
on various sites that will have it if you really need to see it.
Right.
Yep.
Right. That's beautiful. All right. So anything else we need to cover before we bounce? We're doing short segments today, people, giving you the bite-sized bits on our sports justice channel here, warsports.com. So Eddie, what else you got? Anything else to cover? You want to tell the people where they can
Well,
find?
there's always stuff. I just did an article about the pay-per-view ripoff and how they're having expensive pay-per-views now every 2 weeks now. They
Oh,
had
I'm not
two
in
in
that train.
March, two in April. They have the Canelo fight May 4th, Fury and Usyk May 18th. They have the Better Bivol and the 5v5, the Matchroom Queensberry on June 1st. Then they recently announced June 15th. There's going to be the PBC card with Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin, which could be a good fight to watch. But
I like
No
Davis.
women.
who's going to pay for all this stuff?
Well, I'm not paying for
You know,
But
who
is
can
that going to
pay?
be
It's
on
just
Prime
killing
again? PBC?
It'll be on Prime pay-per-view.
Do we ever know how many
Never.
eyeballs watched their
No.
first one on Prime?
They've and right, no, and it's the numbers have probably been very low
Right.
because
think
they're
so.
they're keeping the numbers secret. Usually they leak them
Right.
so that
That
the
they were
word gets
good.
around, but they haven't been doing that recently because frankly, pirating is very easy to do and everybody knows you can see it on YouTube or another video platform right after the fight. And maybe you know the results, maybe you don't, but you can't keep paying $70, $80, $90 every 2 weeks. Who
No.
has money for that? Boxing used to be a working people's sport. It's become a luxury sport. It's just absurd. And it's just killing it. One thing after another kills it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then then you have positive drug tests,
Which makes it even worse. Right.
It's bad for boxing. It's bad for the opponents. It's bad for clean fighters. It's just disgusting.
unless you're winning $12 million by betting on yourself. Okay, so Melissa, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, my friend. And please tell us all about your book launch. You got a new
Well,
book coming out?
we'll have to do a show on it because, hey,
Yes.
but my book, The Promise of Women's Boxing, A Momentous New Era for the Sweet Science, will be out on June 4th. I am having a huge event at Gleason's Gym on June 15th at 7 p.m. It will include a forum, a women's boxing forum. It'll be moderated by my very dear friend Raquel Cepeda, who is a journalist and an author. She wrote How I Became a Latina. And she's also a filmmaker and has done some remarkable work in that medium. And she's an amateur boxer as well.
Nice.
So she will be leading the moderator, and I will have, drum roll, Alicia Ashley, Maureen Shea, Shelley Vincent, Alicia Napoleon, Ronica Jeffries.
Is Callie gonna make it?
Hmm?
Callie Reese?
No, she's not gonna make it. But and Sparkle Lee, who's
right.
So I got 6 remarkable people of the ring and we'll panel. They'll have an opportunity to really talk about, has the promise been met? Have women really been able to find opportunity in a sustained way, or is it just little flashes in the pan?
Yeah.
And then you get to see me, and I'll do a reading from the book, and then we'll just have also celebrating my 70th birthday.
70, baby.
Which is just a few days later. So we'll have a big cake, and so I've been curating a list of music with lots of salsa and James Brown. So we'll be dancing and just having general fun. So
that's right.
If you can get to Gleason's Gym, please do.
That's right. June
15th.
June 15th. I have an event on that day, but I will remember to give you a shout out. All right, Eddie.
You're the best. Thank you.
Yep. All right, Eddie. Let's tell the people where they can find you, my friend.
Well, for better or for worse, more for worse, I'm still on Twitter, which seems to be restricting the amount of tweets that people can post who don't pay the little creep money. And so I'm still dealing with that. To me, there's no alternative that I found on social media where there's the whole breadth of information and discussion about so many different topics that are out there. As bad as Twitter is, as much crap, there's still a lot of good people and a lot of good stuff on there. So I'm still there at NHB News and still doing the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Eddie Goldman. Subscribe to that for independent boxing journalism that you're really not getting this kind of analysis in other places, because virtually everybody else is financially tied to one promoter or network or trainer or fighter or another. And somebody got to tell the truth, at least for now. And my website's eddiegoldman.com. So if you want to contact me, that's the best way to do it.
Right on. Thank you, Eddie. And everybody wants to chat it up with me. I am still on the shitter at Angry Afro Radio. You can hit me up on IG. I've grown to love Instagram. That's Fight Goddess 1, Instagram and Threads. And, we will see you guys soon. Can't say when, because, we drop in, we drop out. But thank you for supporting independent journalism with my co-hosts. They are the experts. I am just a fan. Okay, fans only. So thank you guys for tuning in. Peace, love, and push-ups.